Hi there, and welcome to day 10 of our Questions Reframed video series. Today's question is, what's the biggest automation mistake you see? That's really a challenge to answer because we learn most from our failures. So I don't necessarily look at things that go wrong with creating your automation as a mistake. It's just a learning opportunity for you. But I would say, if I had to say, quote unquote, a mistake, it's probably developing your automation with only your happy path in mind. This question is reasonable because you've maybe been burned by some process that you've implemented and it failed, and maybe the repercussions were more significant than you anticipated. So you want to protect yourself and make sure that you don't put yourself in that position again. In reality, there is nothing that works perfect 24/7. If you can get 90%, 95%, that's pretty much amazing. The opportunity for set it and forget it, no matter what you do, is not going to work that way all the time. We can keep our fingers crossed and hope that it works. A majority of the time, it's okay to make those kind of mistakes because those are opportunities for learning, and it's usually a good reason for you to test a lot with your happy path. But it's also good to test using things that you maybe don't expect. Let's talk about data entry. That's usually where the biggest problem happens because we don't anticipate that our users will enter information in a crazy way. Like a common one is first name, last name. What happens if they have two first names, like Mary Jean or Linda Sue or something like that? Or they have a long last name because it's hyphenated. Or let's say they're a junior or the third. Having the opportunity to accommodate those kinds of things in your data entry is pretty significant. Dates, using dashes, slashes, phone numbers, using slashes, phone numbers, space, and things like that. Those are things to think about when you're doing automation that just don't occur to most people when they're setting these things up. It's like, well, how does the system that you're integrating to with your automation expect to receive the information? And how are you preventing your users from entering that information in incorrectly? Or are you looking at the data as it comes through and making sure it's in the right format? Those are the kinds of small things that will create problems for you down the line. Those are the things that I look at when we talk about checking for things. What happens if somebody is trying to create a new account and they already have an account? It's just silly things like that. It's really important to think about what guardrails you're going to put in place and what opportunities are there. Usually for an MVP, maybe you don't worry about that, just to get the thing up and running, which is fine, but it's something that you can't not consider at some point. I'm a big fan of those kinds of things. Are not necessarily hard to implement up front, so I'm usually pretty particular about, no, we should probably do that, because if a user has issues with your application, they're not going to use it. So you want to create the best user experience that you can. Try and make it as much, I was going to say idiot proof, but it's really because it's not really a kind way to say it, but that's really what it comes down to. Is you want to make sure that you're creating the best user experience for whoever you're building for, if it's automation tied to software and data entry and things like that. I would say your next step is to pick one automation that you trust, list the top 3 places where data comes through, and for each one, try to come up with weird ways that data might come through. Maybe you can get AI to help you if you can't think of any. Different ways of doing things. I gave some examples in my previous comments. Is if there is anything you need help with, as always, comments, questions, concerns, let me know.